What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and it's Thursday night football, baby. So I'm going to take you through a couple of the looks that I have. We might even muck around and get saucy with it. We'll put a bitch-ass parlay together. We shall see. I'm somewhat unprepared for this, and I'm a little bit tired. I just put together 2 to 3 hours of research for the NBA, put the video together, and just uploaded that. So check that out if you want to see my NBA picks for the upcoming set. But we're here to talk about NFL. Now, what's going down here? It's Thursday night football. This is where shit gets real nasty. Thursday night football has been tough to bet on. But we have a game where the public heavily on the Vikings, and at first glance, I was too. The line's at 3, meaning the books think this game is going to be somewhat close. The total's at 48.5, and a lot of people are seeming to bet the under. So how do I think this goes? I think the Vikings win, and I do think the Rams keep it somewhat close. I think they keep it within a touchdown, but I do like the Vikings here. So as we go through all of these props today, keep that in mind because I've got a particular script in my mind, and the Vikings win this game. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go. So we're jumping into Outlier. If you're interested in checking an Outlier, 7-day free trial in the video description below. Still love Outlier, don't get me wrong. I'm using Props Madness for the NBA stuff, but I'm not here to shit on nobody. I think Outlier is excellent, and I still use it each and every single day. So for those of you who bought Outlier because I told you to, don't worry, fam. It's still a great tool, and I'm still going to be using it. But let's talk about this game. Vikings versus the Rams. The first, basically, you know that I think the Vikings are going to win. So if I think they're going to win, there's a particular game script that I have in mind. We might as well get through it in alphabetical order. Aaron Jones. And I'm looking at his rushing yards. I don't know if I'm going to play the full 68.5 over. Do I take 50 instead and just play a parlay? We shall see. So if the Vikings are going to win this game, you'd assume positive game script. Aaron Jones is going to run all over them. He's covered this number in 8 out of his last 10 games, so the hit rate on this is excellent. The matchup's also terrific as well. The Rams, not very good on the ground, bottom 3 in the league, and when it comes to running backs, bottom 5 in terms of rushing yards allowed. Now, Aaron Jones covered this in 4 out of 6 games this year, achieving an average of 73.8 yards per game. So I do like Aaron Jones to get busy on the ground in this game. It is a short turnaround as well, being Thursday night football, and in those types of games, we tend to see the teams be a little bit more conservative, less time to game plan, and the run game's often a good play. So I do like Aaron Jones to go over his rushing yards. But now that I look at it, I'm thinking, do I play an alternate line of 90? That way I only have to bet a little bit less. He's hit 90-plus yards in 4 out of 6 games. When he's covered this line this season, he's hit 90, right? So we might look at 90 yards, put a quarter of a unit on that, and we might play 50 yards as part of a parlay. We'll see. I'll let you know by the end of the video, making this up as we go. But I do like Aaron Jones to run. Game script is there, the matchup is there, and his form has been excellent. So that's the first look that I have. Second look that I have is on Uncle Sam Darnold. So I'm looking at this. Under 31.5 passing attempts. And this is the greenest thing I've seen in my life. He 100% hit rate under 31.5 passing attempts this year. 100% hit rate last year. 100% hit rate against the Rams. Like the whole thing is green. I don't know why it's set at 31.5. The Vikings are favorites, meaning if they're ahead, they're less likely to throw the ball. Like this opened at 29.5, and for some reason it's up to 31.5. Now, I don't do into much research into other cappers or bettors or content creators on what they're betting on in the NFL. And the reason why I don't is because I'm easily influenced, right? I might see something I like and I think that's going to happen. So I try to stay away from everybody else who's doing this. And I look at the numbers, predict the game, and I think, how the hell does this happen? So if you have an idea as to why this goes over, please let me know in the comment section. But I personally, looking at the numbers, looking at the matchup, thinking about the game script, I think this goes under 31.5. I do like it. If I was betting this, I probably wouldn't put it in a parlay. I'd probably run this as my only straight bet of the day. 1 unit on Sam Darnold under 31.5 passing attempts up against the Ram. They allow the 10th fewest pass attempts this season. And the reason why is because the Rams usually trailing, right? And they can't stop the run either. So most teams' preference is going to be to run the ball. You're less likely to turn that shit over. It's a safer play. So it all makes sense to me that Sam Darnold goes under. But if you can help me out, tell me why he doesn't. That's the second look that I do have in this game. Next look I have is on Stafford. So pretty much looking at the opposite here. I do like his passing yards or his passing attempts. Basically looking at an over because the script in my mind is the Rams are trailing. They're going to need to throw, right? His passing yards line is at 238. Now, this season, he hasn't been great at hitting it. He's only hit this in 2 out of 6 games. But one thing to keep in mind, Cooper Cup hasn't been there for most of these games. So let's take a look at his games without Cup. So without Cooper Cup, we can see this season is over in 1 out of 4 games, which means with Cooper Cup, he's over in 1 out of 2, right? But Cooper Cup does open up things for the passing game. And the other great thing about it is this Minnesota team allow a shit ton of passing yards this season, 260 per game. So Stafford, he's good enough to make it happen. Vikings do run a lot of pressure, but Stafford pretty good under pressure. His numbers don't necessarily change too much, whether he's pressured or not. So I think having Cooper Cup there, it's a good look. I'll be honest with you, I do like Cooper Cup over his receiving yards, but I have a terrible record betting on receiving yards. Chances are I bet on Cooper Cup to go over his line, and Atwell goes for 100, right? So playing it safe, Matt Stafford. I do like his over. I can probably look at pulling this down to 200 yards as part of a parlay, but I do like the over here regardless. Other look that I have for Stafford is on pass attempts. His line's at 33.5. This season, he's only gone over it twice, 49 and 45. So the same games he went over his passing yards, he went over his passing attempts. Could look at an alternate, 40 plus perhaps. The Vikings, they do allow the most passing attempts this season, right? Force teams to throw 42.5 per game. So we could get saucy with it, play Matthew Stafford up to 40 passing attempts, and then we could only bet maybe a quarter of a unit depending on what the odds are. But I think Matt Stafford throws in this game. How successful he is, not too clear on that, but I definitely think he throws the ball. So I do like his passing attempts as well. And I'm just thinking about if there was anything else that I liked. I spoke about Cooper Cup, but again, I'm no good at picking these buddy receivers. Cooper Cup made my list, though. I think he does have a good game. Another receiver here, obviously Justin Jefferson's always going to get his looks. Jordan Addison, I think he's someone who could make it happen. His ADOT is nice and long. He only needs a couple of catches to make it happen. And I believe the Rams run a lot of cover 3, cover 6, and Addison performs very well in those coverages and schemes. So that's pretty much where I'm thinking. Now, what am I going to play? Well, let's muck around with it and see. So I'm sharing one of my many sports books. If you want more sports books and apps, check the video description below. A few of my partners, they all have deposit matches for you. But for this particular one, it's very similar to FanDuel over here in Australia. Let's just see what type of odds that we're getting. So Matt Stafford, his line's at 237. You're getting about minus 112 for that. I think it's a good play, but again, I don't want to have so many straight bets. It's one game, right? Ideally, I like to have one that I hang a unit on. The rest I can just fuck around with and go small. His completions at 22.5. Where's your attempts? Stafford attempts over 33.5. This is minus 120, so I don't love that. Sam Darnold's pass attempts, the under 31.5 is great. That's minus 107. So I think that might be the one unit play that I play purely because of the hit rate is amazing, and I don't understand why the line's at 31.5. Next minute, the Vikings are trailing, and Sam Darnold just throws the shit out of this ball, right? It definitely could happen. But looking at passing attempts, the alternate ones, I'd probably need to use Bet365 to get a good idea of what Stafford to get 40 is, but that's definitely a look. Let's have a look at Aaron Jones. They've got his line at 67.5 here, minus 112. So for Aaron Jones, I could probably look at his alternate rushing yards, go for 90. So this is plus 200. All right. So plus 200, I can go half unit on Aaron Jones to run for 90, perhaps. That could be a good look. And that's pretty much all I really had, isn't it? So I've got that. Let's build this bitch-ass parlay. I'm feeling it. So I don't know if I want to bet the Vikings straight up to win in this bitch-ass parlay, but if tease this thing out, what if we were to take the Vikings plus 3.5, just in case the Rams manage to sneak home a win? We make that our first play of the day. When we look at the quarterback props, we look at Matthew Stafford, and let's try to bring his passing yards down to 200. Nice. So those two plays together are at minus 110 already. Then we go to rushing props, and Aaron Jones, we take him for 50. Now we're at plus 137 on this bitch-ass parlay. Now, I don't want to add any receivers into this because I can't pick a receiver to save my life. But those 3 plays alone, plus 137, might be worth a unit already. So, look, Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Let me know if you rate any of these picks. Help me if I've made any errors in my judgment. Let me know what you're thinking. The picks that I do eventually land on, I'll send them out to you on Winnable. I'll send it to the free section of Winnable so nobody misses out. So if you want to sign up to my Winnable, the link for that's in the video description below. Go to the free section, subscribe, cost you nothing, and you'll get all the NFL players that I play for Thursday night football. So check that shit out. And if you made it this far into the video, I say thank you. Be sure to check out my NBA video. Pretty confident about those picks that I've already shared. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.